Yeah, Africa. Yeah, Africa is a great continent. It's a continent that supply the world with great things. It's where money, it's where people and life began. Yeah, and actually is you see the race and the color of people come from Africa, and the resources that they're actually fighting for in Africa. Yeah, one question I ask at many times: why is it the Europeans, also America, is making decision of the financially things in Africa and the decision that African made and want to govern the decision? Why is it the Western world is providing soldiers and build and having soldiers sending and and an army, yeah, army in Africa? Did any African country have an army or a defense force or a soldier camp in any European country? Also America? I would have said no. Why is it they're always building army camp in America? It's just to control the resources in Africa. And the thing is, and that is it. Yeah? Any leaders that come in Africa that is actually strong and want to make the difference in Africa, they call it terrorism. They call it terrorists. They create a money situation and a resources situation, and they come together and unite together and build a system that keep the African leaders down. Yeah? And then sanction, they cannot buy, they cannot sell. And then blame the leader of that country. Say that country, that leader is a bad leader. It's not a bad leader. They come together and create what they plan to be in control of the system, because it's where the financial resources is. And as you realize, Africa is the greatest power. Yeah? And Africa is where human, each and every skeleton them find for 9, 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, is a black person. So the law that is the foundation of the human race. Yeah. And the history of the Bible surrounded with Africa. Yeah? That means to say a long-term history. See? And what they're actually doing is keeping a continent that is great down. They said Africa is backward. Africa do not have the resources and the knowledge of what it's supposed to be. But why is it Europe have all of those African artifacts in the museum? Can you talk about a background country and you have the artifacts in your museum? Christian. Yeah? Black people only come together when something happened to a black person in America, England, or in Europe. But what about the daily things that's happening in Africa to black people? No one care. None of those black people care. They talk about black history, but black history surrounded about selective people in Europe and America. I might be in Jamaica and some of the Western country and Mandela. Yeah? It is program. Yeah? One thing I have to say, Africa will not be united and African and black people will not be respected around the world and until Africa unite. Anytime Africa unite as one, respect to those three African countries who's making a difference. Why those three African countries who's coming out of France? Because France are the biggest problem in Africa. France, if people go around, go and do a research, and after those 14 African countries get independent, what is the problem they have from France? And what France is achieving. Me come tell you something. Africa keep France economy up. Africa keep Europe economy up. Remember that. Tell Europe and America to leave Africa alone and see Africa strong. Don't blame the leaders because they have some. Yes, you can blame some of the puppet them in Africa. If the other nation sees Africa catch a cold. Anyhow, a high level Alex, love in the community. Me gone. Do the research. Do the research, people. Black people around the world, do the research. Yeah? And then make no comments. A blessing.